And it's really true, you know, there is this saying, everything makes sense in the end, yeah? So like in DNS, it's exactly the same. Like in the last study months that we had, we were like, ah, okay, you know, like everything like starts
That's how
to...
dishwash.
Hi Indie, hi Ermes.
Hello, hello.
So today we're gonna hear from our graduates, DNS 2016 Indrė and Ermes. We're gonna reflect a bit about their education and share a bit about themselves.
Yes.
So maybe we could start from hearing your life stories. Like, where do you come from and what did you do before DNS?
Okay.
Would you like to start?
Fine for me. So my name is Ermes, and I come from a small region in the center of Italy called Abruzzo, and I arrived here in Twint 4 years ago. And before that, so I had like a really, as we can say, ordinary lifestyle. After finished high school, I started to study in the university in my hometown, and I was studying nurse to become a nurse and working in the hospital. And I spent 3 years studying there, but I didn't conclude. I didn't finish my studies because I had some problems, and I didn't really fit in the way how the studies were organized, and also I didn't fit also in the way the job in the hospital was structured, and I wanted something different, which at the time I didn't know yet. And after quitting the studies, I try out different things. I was a different kind of job. I was working as a bartender, and I stayed in my region, and then I decided to travel around a bit, and I had experience in EVS program. I was living in Bulgaria for a while, and I was also trying out woofing, going in a farm, organic farm, and experiencing what it means to work and live there. And also to work, I was working with kids in a summer camp with kids, and then I decided that I wanted to continue to work with kids and to try out to be what it means to be a teacher. And I have seen always this role of a teacher as a authority, and I never thought that that could be a future for me. And then I found an article in Italian about DNS, and as soon as I read, I thought this is for me. I wanted to try out, and I was interested in traveling for sure, but also in the community life, which I never experienced before, and I wanted to see. I was really interested in that. And I decided to come, and I came for preparatory weekend, and I just stayed because
So you came with a one-way ticket?
Yeah, I came with a one-way ticket to Denmark, and I was not sure 100%, but I was pretty sure I wanted to stay in this place in Finn. And I was considering maybe to stay at DNS, but also volunteering here. But then I decided that DNS was the right choice. And I started the program. Yeah,
okay.
Straight after my preparatory weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you,
That's
Indie?
pretty much it.
So my name is not Indie, but everybody calls me that for many years. I'm Lithuanian, and 26 years old. Basically after high school I enrolled into a university, as it's very common at least it was at that time. Yeah, it also, let's put some pressure on our age, because nowadays it's very popular to go for gap year and so on. But back then, when I was 18, it was like, you know, you just go to uni, and I studied philosophy for 2 years. But I also really loved traveling, and during one of these travels, I simply started to live in one community, and my life changed completely, because I never returned to my studies nor my previous lifestyle in Lithuania. So I lived in communities since I was 20 years old in different countries, and then I was living in France. I discovered about DNS because before I lived in one community in Portugal, and I really got interested in alternative education, particularly. There were some families there who were homeschooling their children, and I found it really peculiar. I never heard about anything like that before. And also encountered some books, some literature, and I got really fascinated about the wider perception on education. And after many chats and so on, I started researching. So when I was in France later on, I simply typed into Google alternative education, and DNS was on page 6 in Google search. and it really got my attention, and I wrote immediately, like, what kind of thing is this? Does it really exist? Is it like page, you know, like from the past? Because it seemed like a dream. It really did. That you can combine studying and traveling and personal development, and in the end you are qualified as a teacher. That was something mind-blowing. And I still gave some additional time till I actually got the courage to come here for a prep weekend. But when I truly decided, I came here with a one-way ticket and one little suitcase, and I stayed ever since. So.
Okay, so you're also one-way ticketer.
Yes.
Okay.
I was very sure.
So you finished the program this Saturday.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations with that. That
Thank
was quite
you.
a
Thank
journey.
you.
It was very nice graduation.
It was amazing ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
And so now you've been together with us over more than 3 years. How do you feel you changed as individuals, as with your mindset? With what new skills do you come out with now? And maybe it's difficult to answer because you just finished, and after going to a very busy last 3 months, it's a bit maybe takes time to digest. But how do you say maybe immediate reaction after that? What skills do you come out with?
I mean, you changed the hair color.
Yeah, I was a brunette before.
This is not blonde, it's white. It's because of this year.
All the wisdom that I gathered. I mean, it's depends from the perspective that you choose upon to reflect on the experience, because you can talk from the aspects of political awareness, of a professional aspect, from personal development, and of course, as you say, it will take some time to digest. That's for sure. But it also really helped, even recent experiences when we were kind of remembering, you know, like how was Africa travel, European reality, all these different chapters, to also see yourself in visually, and to talk with one another. Especially Ermes can remind me how I was in the beginning, because I don't have very good memory.
It was very grumpy.
Grumpy.
Yes, I was very grumpy. And to see yourself now, you know, and to also be aware of a perception, like how much broader it is, you know, and how you have much more courage to go for things because you have your values, political stance crystallized. And like in terms of skills and knowledge, when you ask what did you get out of the program, I would really say that despite whether you have like a plan clear, whether you figured it out or not, something is changed in you so that you're really sure of yourself and you're really sure of your vision and goals, meaning that when you get out of this place, no matter what you will do, you have the strength, you know. And for me that's like a major thing, because you could you know, keep on going through different courses, experiences, maybe immediately jump into working in a school. That's also fair, but it's different whether you leave a college and you just have a piece of paper and like you can remember many experiences and many lectures and the friendships that you have, or whether you come out of a place as a really confident human being. Like for me that's something if to compare and to think about myself. And another factor is that you don't just go, once you graduate, you know, immediate thought is that, okay, so that's it, you know, you're on your own. You're not. You're really not. Like, how I feel it is that, you know, I have people besides me, like together with me. And that's something what, you know, we lack in a society nowadays. Like this kind of really strong relations and bonds where you have people together with you with whom you went through some tremendous challenging and uplifting experiences together, meaning that at any point of my life I know that I can count on these people with whom I studied together. I can even create some projects. I can call them at any time, and if I have some struggles or some joyful moments, I can go and see them. You know, it's like this. This is something what living in a community really cherishes, is all these bonds, and that is something very precious. And yeah, like of course, to be like more precise in terms of skills and knowledge, it's a lot. It's basically the understanding, like when you have these political stands and values, you know, you're more sure of yourself and how you can contribute to the society and the world in general. So of course, like personally, for me it's education, and I want to work as a teacher, but this confidence and this strength and different kind of understandings, perceptions you crystallize comes from DNS times, when you have all these different discussions, investigations, all these experiences of like moving, you know, mobility, like moving constantly and getting to know people from different circumstances. So you have like really this bigger awareness of like what's happening, basically. It's not just about reading the news, but it's like, you know, I actually went to Mauritania and I went to the Ministry of Environment and I spoke with the people. It's not just I open an article and I take it for granted what is written. So it's like this critical thinking, analytical thinking, creativity, how to work together in a group, how to rely and take responsibilities.
If I go like to your group and teamwork, like how did you improve as a team, like from the start to the end?
Oh my goodness. Ermes.
Why the easy one? how we improved as a team.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't just happen naturally. Yeah, you
No,
have certain.
No, it's a process, obviously.
Yeah.
How did we do that?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of about, I would say, also mindset and how willing you are to work, to have good relations with people. Because here you have to kind of shift over your understanding upon how you perceive other people. Because you have to, there are conditions set that you have to, together with a team, achieve certain things and to also have good atmosphere within, you know? And then how do you do it?
I think like we try to create also like space for us to spend, not just related with what we were doing with the program, but also to have like some times to get to know more each other, not just related to the studies or the things that we were doing, but also to have like in every period like to do something to I would say like this point for me it's like it's one of the main like to learn how to cooperate with people that probably in the real life you wouldn't, I wouldn't even talk probably because they are very very distant. Like if I think about 4 years before, probably maybe not Indie but somebody else, I wouldn't we wouldn't create connection just because. And with the team we had the same purpose, that was to make the program, but in what we want to do, work with people after the NS, I think we want that, no? We want to be, you said you want to be a teacher, and the same for me in different ways maybe, but yeah, the same, like we needed to learn how to work with people that they were very far from us.
Who have different opinions, different political stance, experiences, and yeah, like lifestyles, you know. It's and then yeah, you're somehow like, you know, drop this curtain that something is separating you, you know. It's
But I think the turning point in our team was to be honesty, frank speaking. Like
when was this turning point for your team?
Once you show that you are vulnerable, you know, then once you share like something really personal, or you admit of doing mistakes, that's like, that's it.
It was the last year,
Yes,
in the last year,
Yeah. I can also relate. For me, in the last 8 months of the program, I could feel we reached where we can really be frank and honest to each other. But then it suddenly are like these, you could say, weaknesses became strengths to empower each other. You know, because when you know I'm not good in something, but then if you're aware of that, you always give input and empower. And I think that's the whole value of, like, a huge value of the program, that you really learn, like, whoever this person is, you'll learn to work it out. But often you reach that in the last year, I think. Yeah. Because in the start there's egos, there's opinions and views and not space looking at the actual, like, how to say, there's things preventing this, and then it just needs to break
these things. And it's like a chain, you know. If somebody starts, then it will spread because you are always together. And you get affected a lot, and then it's up to us to decide if we want to get affected in a positive or a negative way. We understood, like, for example, it was our decision, our stand, what to see in the other person. So I see the beauty, I see the positive side of you, and I help this positive side to grow, or I see just the bad side and I make this bad side
like
grow. Exaggerate. So that's what we understood, and that was a turning point.
And this simply, you get a lot through experiences. You get a lot through humble work, you know? Like, why we do gardening, or why do we dishwash, you know? Like, why do we have rotas of, like, cooking and so on? Like, it's it makes you more down to earth and more really, really humble, you know. And once you have all these like experiences together, like going through really challenging situations, so seeing this vulnerability and having this ownership in a sense of your program and suggesting things, being involved. You cannot just not value each other. So I think it's, in general, it's overall experiences, because we also know each other so well. We know how much we changed and transformed. But at the same time, it's this motivation and commitment to actually also make it work,
Yeah, it's hard work to reach this level. You need to go through these challenges. And then, at least, often I end up, when we have a preparatory week and people considering DNS, then I try to emphasize that it's not just rainbows and everything nice. It's tough. There is tough times, but that's part of it, because when you have these challenges, when you go through the worst situations in the team, that makes you stronger as a group, and then you can move. Because if these real challenges would not be there, then the bonds would also be superficial, because there was no need to, stick together.
If there was one skill, if I need to mention one skill that we were very good as a team, it was to improvise.
To improvise.
We were very good at that. Like,
oh my goodness.
even until the end, the last day of graduation, to give some of the speeches, we just
we improvised the
speeches because we didn't have time. But also for people's exam, or to give some presentation, like
exams.
Exams. We really learned this skill, how to to improvise, but like not to just like to deliver something, but to try to make
but
it
in a good
functioning.
sense.
Yeah,
in a good sense.
Like you could also call it adapting.
Yes.
Because you go through many changes. You have in every year you have 3 different periods that you move from one circumstance to another. You have there's always enough things to do in the school.
As a teacher, it's a very important skill to learn.
Definitely.
To face different situations and challenging in the classroom.
And to stay curious and like how to combine the information maybe you just received and then like make speech out of it. Like for example, when I think about exams, there is so in the last year, when I mentioned previously that you are really sure upon yourself and your beliefs, and stands. Meaning that, so there is an exam in pedagogy, let's say, I don't know, DNS over you or a teacher of 21st century subject. And improvisation means that you didn't write a speech before you go to the spoken exam, but that you can enter the classroom and you are so sure of yourself that you can be awakened at night, sort of thing, and just give the speech, and any time of the day, and but everything is for you really clear. Like what do you think about education? What do you think about this theory, that educator, and that school, and so on. About you are able to reflect upon your experience, let's say during teaching practice. What methods you practiced, it's all there, so improvisation meaning that you're really able to put all these experiences together and analyze and make sense out of it. So it's in this way, I think.
Because if I remember, first time we tried to improvise, it was after African travel, and we were wanted to give a presentation like to people. We were in Spain, and like a presentation about the travel, and it was very messy.
So
we were not
the first presentations are never really good.
It was in Malaga, wasn't it? It was so chaotic. People couldn't follow. Suddenly we talk about the bus, and then suddenly about I don't know, something else.
And now we just look at each other, we know.
Yeah.
We just look at each other, Now we know who is going to say what, right now.
So where do you think, how can you use these skills for your future in whatever path you will go?
Yeah, it's not to advocate that now, let's say we work in a school and then we don't prepare for lessons because we can just improvise. Hello students, today we're going to talk about feminism. You know, like, not like that.
No.
But this adaptability that, you know, because once you enter a school, let's say if it's a school where you're going to work as a teacher, you can work as a teacher in many different locations and circumstances. And let's say it's a school you enter and then you have a new team, yeah, the teachers council, and how to work with these very, very different people. Maybe, let's say, Lithuanian very present issue like not as if something tremendously bad, but just reality is that there are people who are simply who lived in a different era, yeah, during Soviet Union. There is the youth who are living in the globalized, modern, progressive, how you name it, world, and there is a clash, yeah. So how to work with these people? You don't exclude them, yeah, but you need to create conditions how to have a good atmosphere in a school. So I imagine, yeah, like having this, taking responsibility and taking action, how to create this good environment in the school with the students, with the teachers. Also how to bring some different methods and ideas how to teach. Because if we're talking about public schooling, no, sorry. There are some good things, but it needs to change. It needs to change, I'm sorry. And so like, trying out many different methods, not being scared to experiment and to remain curious. Like when I think about also teaching practice myself, we experimented European reality. We experimented so much, you know, you're just like, let's just try out, what do we have to lose, you know? Instead of like maybe sitting there for days, Googling different lesson plans and so on, and like, I don't know, Ministry of Education guidelines, and not sure or confidence just to, you know, go with the experience, like creating this experience, also moderating yourself, you know, like coming up with idea and just like being sure, yeah, you know, I can do it. We last month, you know, we were like, should we go to Lithuania? Yeah, I mean, what do we know about it? Let's just go and have investigations, you know, let's just go and create a really nice experience. So it's like this, having this ownership upon your life, upon what choices you take, you know? Not like pushing away some responsibilities, but doing it. I also don't think that, you know, we create here like some sort of ideal place, and once we step back, we step out, we step back as well, you know? Like, I don't think, Ermes, you're gonna stop being interested in gardening or gonna stop being interested in education and I don't know, start working in a corporation. You're not gonna do that.
Not anymore. No, but you bring, I mean, you bring this knowledge and things with you, yeah, you know, you will, your capacity to work as a team, your capacity to adapt and improvise and overcome, you're gonna bring this to your whatever project you go to.
Yeah.
I think one of the major skills is how to bring a message that we really learned, because we got a knowledge, but for a teacher or whoever, like, it's not enough to have a knowledge, but you need to know how to bring this knowledge to your students or whoever you want to create awareness. And it's a responsibility that we have, because we got the knowledge and we also got skill of how to bring this message, with bring it to the public, with different giving lessons. And this is important, public speaking, how to talk in front of the people, how to involve the people and to make the people aware of what you believe or what are your values. That's one of them.
And I actually see you in that very much as well, because you actually throughout DNS you were very passionate about the Palestine, what call it, occupation of Palestine, and you were bringing this, like, what was the process for you actually? Because I think during Do What You Find Most Appropriate, you went there, and since then you've been you created, you know, you made a theater play.
Yeah, I went there because I was really interested to see the situation, because I studied a lot about. I met many people here in Denmark, and I wanted to use this opportunity of do what you find most appropriate to go, and to go in a refugee camp and to see, to experience. And I was really struggle how to bring the message here in Europe, because I divided the period in half going there, and another half to do kind of bring it to the public and to talk about. At the beginning, I was giving like PowerPoint presentation, and
how did that work out?
And it was not good. It was not good because I was not managing to touch in a way, like not physically, but to I wanted to touch the hearts of the people. Like I wanted the people to make them feel in the refugee camp, you know, to experience, so that they could relate their daily life with the Palestinian refugees' daily life. And I didn't manage with the normal presentation, and I had to think something different, how to involve. And I got inspired. I was participating in a climate camp, and I got inspired by like an activist that made a theater play. And I decided to make this theater play and to involve also other students, so to make them feel part of this play. And I managed to make it actually different times. And
it was a very powerful play.
And also for the summer theater, to bring with also to the students that we have here. And then other people decided to go to Palestine. And to experience themselves.
And some people still want to go.
And some people still want to go. So how to think different, how to involve, to bring the message.
I think we also especially learned this skill during our investigations when we are in European Rally Tour in Africa travel, that really go out and engage with the topics, you know, and then you're like, you know, I myself remember I did the investigation about agriculture in Botswana, and I didn't really care that much for food, agriculture, but after meeting a farmer, meeting the people who handle food, who sell it, to see all this process, then you get like, wow, that's important, and then you feel, you know, then you get this, you could say, not knowledge, but a feeling of it, and then you know how to pass it on, like in practice. But then, okay, how do you do it in a classroom or in a particular situation? We have little time. It's
a challenge.
That's a challenge. Then bring it to the public period. That's where you actually go through this from first presentations who are like a chaos, and then until the end you actually create a meaningful message.
And I can share, like also yesterday we had a request from one of the teams to kind of reflect a little bit upon teaching practice, because the 2017 team, they are about to go, and they were asking, okay, but what is it, you know, that you did? And because we can talk very broad, or in terms of his personal development, like with skills and knowledge, you know, because there's so much. So it's really it can go so deep. But you, like during, for example, teaching practice, you have the conditions to try out these methods, not just read about it. And I think if to compare, that's also the difference, you know, with our kind of education, that in the teaching practice places, at least the Danish schools that, you know, mostly we go to, you have a really strong and supportive environment, the collective of teachers and headmasters and so on. And they encourage you to stand up as a teacher. So it's not that, you know, you go through typical first some weeks of observation of the classroom, then being a teacher's assistant, and then maybe in the end having a teaching practice as such. But you immediately step in the shoes of a teacher. You have the responsibilities of passing on the curriculum to the students. And the best thing is that you get to try out, let's say, freneia, like writing, making journals with the students, or creating a classroom according to Maria Montessori teachings, like how it should be. Or I'm personally very interested in forest schooling, So we had like, for example, 2 weeks of forest school sessions. So it's another methodology. So it's really this thing of that you're able to try out. You know, if it's bringing to the public and public speaking and presentations, and you have to develop workshops like that, which would be engaging and interesting for the people, how to transmit the message that I've been to Northwest Africa with a bus with 15 people, traveling for 4 months and doing investigations and having many experiences. How do you do that? How do you create a workshop, you know? And this kind of experiences, like constantly, you know, like it's really, it shapes your personal methodology. How would you teach? What are you interested in teaching? Because you have to be passionate about what you should teach, otherwise students feel it, you know. They and to remain curious upon the topics. And DNS, you know, it's mainly focused on social sciences, but this learning by doing and experience-based methods, they really help you to make the knowledge closer. And like you said, yeah, like you get the knowledge and then you care about it, and then you get chances to try out and to develop personally. I don't know. I think it's really well facilitated throughout the program how to build up these kind of skills of.
Speaking of facilitation, like we say that DNS is a student-driven education, but what do you think was your teacher's part in your process of the program? Like what? Agnes, yeah.
It was really difficult to understand at the beginning. I would say not just at the beginning, but yeah, I mean, we were coming from a background where the teacher is sitting like already with the physical structure where the teacher is sitting in front of students, so it's like a different position, like higher.
So did you have like resistance to the teacher?
Definitely.
Of course,
oh my God, you remember? Agle would say something and we would object immediately.
Not just
you know?
Agle, like all the teachers.
All the teachers,
all the
yeah.
teachers.
Not really welcome to input.
No, but we really like. I remember like even stupid things like to have a chat in a messenger. Like we didn't want the teachers to be. We wanted like the chat to be just like for us, or maybe to create two different chats. Like for us, it was difficult to understand.
To understand and accept that.
To accept that she was part
yeah.
of the team, not just like a stranger body, but we were all together. And of course, she had this role to bring the connection also between like teachers council and the team. And yeah, for her it was a challenge because we were as Cindy said very well, we were opposing all the time.
Everything.
And not understanding that she had more experience with the different teams, different challenges, and maybe like I remember an episode I can say like during African travel we were coming back. And we need to decide where to go for bring it to the public. And then we wanted to go in Croatia, Slovenia, Hungary. We wanted to be really alternative, you know, make like checking for all, all these countries. And then Egle, she was alone. Poor her, she was alone.
Sorry, Agla.
And then she was like, let's wait, let's talk with teacher council. Maybe they have some proposal, maybe they know somebody that we can give more. We can give more presentation because we didn't know anybody in these countries. We didn't have contact. We just wanted to go there, you know, because we thought it was cool. And then she was like, let's wait, we talk, tomorrow we have a Skype with the teachers, blah, blah, blah. No. We just bought the tickets behind her back.
And we
bought the tickets. That's it. We had the money, we bought the tickets. And she got so frustrated. Like she left for a couple of days. She left the bus. And, but at the time for us it was the right decision, the right choice, you know. And then,
And what would you do now?
of course, we would.
My God, we would make everything together. We would hear each other out, and
yeah,
we would
yeah,
say,
yeah,
but we would try to look for reasoning. Why precisely we want to go to Zagreb, or why precisely we want to go to Ljubljana? You know, it's like more analytical and to see like how we can. Yeah,
but
transmit
like
it.
right now we would bring it to the public differently.
Oh
For
my
example,
God,
we wouldn't
yeah.
go in a country where we don't have so many contacts. We would ask promotion. We would ask teachers, of course, some advice where we could go. You know, not just
But then-
decide.
But then, do you feel like throughout the program, is it often that like you're in a, you could say like a, I'll not say conflict, but confronting the teacher throughout the program, or you think there's like some periods, but most of the time it kind of like just works.
I would say throughout all the program. Yeah, but I think like when you have teaching practice, probably you experience also the other side.
What it
So
means.
what
Yeah,
it
because
means,
then you're the teacher.
You are the teacher.
And
we
then
also,
students disobey all the time.
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, so this is what it's like. Yeah.
But,
So I guess you got some respect for Agla after.
but you know,
during the years.
we changed together. Huh? She also changed throughout the program. And we managed to find a common ground. She also went like towards us. We also had the possibility to participate to teachers' meeting. And that was also like a way out to see things from the other side differently, because most of the time maybe we don't see what is the job of the teachers, because of course we try to be together in running the school, but we have different responsibility, we have different task. That's normal. Yeah.
But the respect grows, you know, with time, and in the end you leave, like for example like during graduation you're exploding with gratitude, because like you see how much effort teachers put, you know, and in the beginning you don't see that because you arrive here differently. You still arrive here expecting that somebody will put stuff on a silver plate, and it's not like that. So you need to unlearn I don't know, like
and school yourself.
Yeah, like to kind of reflect and think through these experiences that you gathered off school, off college, university, of having friends, because here it's like beyond friends, you know, like what does it mean to have a team, and what does it mean to have a teacher. It's also beyond what any teacher would facilitate to you in a school. Because, you know, the teams are smaller and it's more personal, and you really feel that you can address any teacher in any point, any struggle or any joy, you know. It's but you're going through a process together. It's not that teacher is delivering the knowledge and leaving you behind and good luck, but it's like together, always together, and it's yeah.
You know, what we were doing was like, if we were managing in doing something, if we had success in doing something, it was like because of us. So we were like feeling good, a good team. Power. If something was bad, it was the teacher's fault. Wasn't it? Sometimes it happened like this. Like if the period was successful, like yeah, we are good, we manage. If a period, like for example, European reality was bad, and then there was not so much support from the teachers. Like that was our justification, and this thing
left alone.
and this thing to rely, you know, on somebody else, to blame on somebody else, and not to take
responsibility.
your own
So you take responsibility and can see your own faults and what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you are true honest to yourself. Because why should you blame anybody? You know, it's how you took the decision, because you always take a choice, yeah? Also with this philosophical, what perception you have, positive or negative, it depends on you. Nobody else tells you how to react to things, you know? So like you always consciously or unconsciously, I don't know, make a choice. So like the experience that you are about to have, it also depends on you. It's not that how much teacher will give you stuff or prepare you, tell information, or I don't know, but it's you how active you will be in the process, you know, how engaged, how curious, how, I don't know, motivated. That will shape it.
It's how much you put in effort in
Exactly.
the process. That's how much you get out, and it's not more. Because that's the main change, I think, from a normal university where you can do whatever. The input you'll get from university is the same. Here is like, no, if you give energy, if I put energy in solving our conflict or our issue or challenge, then I'll learn a lot. If I step back or do 50-50, then it's superficial.
And we cannot blame so much ourselves for and now I think this in the other teams, and I understand that it's like a path. It's a process. They are coming from this background, and it's understandable.
Yeah, everybody's coming from.
Everybody is coming from the same, and it's very challenging to understand.
And it's really true, you know. There is this saying, everything makes sense in the end, So like in DNS, it's exactly the same. Like in the last study months that we had, we were like, okay, you know, like everything like starts
That's how
to...
dishwash.
Now it's longer. Why the teachers, actually what is the methodology, like DNS pedagogy, what it is, and why teachers do certain things how they do, you know, like for example, sometimes maybe they can inflict some conflicts just to see how you are handling situations and what kind of problem solver you are, you know, and you are like, oh my god, what is this? But it's, so you understand, you realize so many more things upon yourself, upon like pedagogies and whatnot. And then once you are in the end of a journey and you are with our DNSers, you really notice, you're like he or she is just like me, you know, like 2 years ago, or like I was thinking exactly the same, or they're going through exactly the same process. Like, of course it's different, but
there's a pattern.
There's a pattern, definitely.
Okay. Well, our time is coming to an end. I want to ask, do you have would you like to add something that you want to share? It's been some years with us.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's very strange. It's very puzzling feeling. I don't know. It's.
Do you have an idea where you want to go forward from here on?
For now, I will take some time for sure to make a better reflection out of these 4 years, because especially last period was quite intense and we didn't have time for it. And visit some friends and just do some random job maybe to earn money. I know for sure that I want to live in a community and work with people, maybe with kids. So for sure, like I want to keep this lifestyle, that's for sure. But like in practical, I still don't know. I have received some offer which I will consider, but for now it's this.
Yeah,
how about
same,
you, Indie?
Same.
So we'll be together.
I really want to study more, but also in a different sense, you know, not attending a college and then getting a degree, like, because of course we can talk like this and then think, you know, how naive it sounds, because for a job you do need a paper and so on. But I think I will go still through this path, that I will gain more experiences, like working experiences in schools or getting different internships, and being really knowing myself, what I'm able to offer and how I'm able to contribute, and going with that, like trying to prove in this way. Of course, my path is that I want to be an inspiring teacher, and I still have.
You already are.
Oh, thank you. I want to dig a bit deeper into certain methods, what I got a grip of in DNS, but I was not like focused enough, and I don't know. definitely a community school or community
garden, farming.
Definitely that, and of course the values and the understandings what you gain here, it will be implemented. But so we're talking about community school. It's,
I heard rumors of a school in Lithuania.
Maybe, let's see. In Lithuania, it's a really growing interest in all this alternative pedagogy. So, like, it seems like it's the right time to graduate from DNS and start. But also, I mean, anywhere people are waking up. You know, it's they don't just how to say follow. Yeah, it's
and for sure we want to follow up over DNS, like give a contribution somehow.
Yes, I hope we'll see you more.
Yeah, of course.
And hear what you're up to. But then it sounds like you're not lacking opportunities.
No, it's open future.
It's open future, yes.
Okay.
Privileges.
Thank you, Ermes and Indie.
Thank you,
Justus, for this opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for trusting in us.
I wish you the best. Wish you the best to find out what you'll be.
Who told you just now? School or community? Or community in a school? Or school
Yeah,
and
that's
community?
very
He's
concrete.
saying like too concrete that we will find. We will let you know.
Okay. Cool.
To bond together. Yeah.